Good morning, guys. This is Richard back at you. It's Friday today. I'm going to say it because the video is going to be posted tonight, so it's Friday. But anyway, we got Taylor's transmission in here all the way from Oklahoma. It's in a 71 Buick, 800 to 850 horsepower, 482 cubic inch motor, naturally aspirated. So we're going to make this tranny have the fully manual capability, but still when you put it in drive, it'll shift out on its own. But if you put it in low gear at 100, it's physically going to go in low gear. So now we haven't got the converter coming yet. He's going to do some cam specs, searching to find out about where his cam works out and stuff like that, and then we'll choose his converter from there. So, but anyway, BOP, totally different bolt pattern than a Chevrolet. Got the dip in it right here. It looks like it's been through before. Got some silver paint on it, so we're not really sure the status of it. Looks old. Got a bolt-on tail housing here. The bolts are pretty tight. And then you got one that will fall out on you. Now you got to look at these really close, especially the tail housings, because of they make two different sizes bushings back here. So you got to be really careful on bushing selection and stuff like that, because I'm not even sure if the small bushing style will come in your bushing kit. You might have to order that bushing separately. So. Now you can see your governor gear. Well, you can't see it because of the speedometer stuff, but I'll pull this off the cover. Now we are still going to use the governor, and it's still going to be functionable because we're still going to give him the automatic capability. Of course, we got a brand new gear over here we're going to put on it. Make sure you polish this up with some Scotch-Brite. Make sure this piece here doesn't wobble on this. It's nice and tight. I had a video. Yeah. Yes, I actually got the governor over here real quick. Let me grab it. Yeah, we just did. So when they wobble like this, they're no good. Got to get you another one. So, but we can clean this one up. Make sure the valve moves up and down inside. Now, if we were going to go a fully manual, we would just weld this stuff outward where it wouldn't come in. And these little paddles on the inside right here, we would TIG weld that across there too, where they don't move on both sides. And then there's one modification we'll do to the valve body. Then it'll work just fine. Now we're going to stay with the modulator because we want to be able to control pressure at idle, cruising the highway and stuff like that, because he's going to drive it. Anytime you go the trans brake style, you do away with the governor. I keep saying governor, I got it on my mind, but the modulator, it just goes to full pressure, like 200 psi. So if you walked up here and just took the line off this modulator, your tranny is going to go at whatever your pressure regulator is going to allow it to your spring. So you got your modulator valve here. Now the modulator we're putting on here is going to have a screw in here so we can adjust it. When you screw it in, it'll raise the pressure a little bit and make the shifts later, firming them up. Now there's a limit on how much you can screw it in too. So. Took some of the pan bolts out for you. Got some pretty fluid right there, definitely.
Not too pretty in the pan though.
Not too pretty. You know, the tranny actually on these 400s, this tranny could still be functionable with that kind of mess.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. So, but I always talk about, you know, anytime you rebuild a tranny, you know, after you drive it a while, you want to service it, just like a brand new motor. Filter's still functional, but it's very nasty. Put that like that there. Now this here is your passing gear switch. Now this is like a kick down switch. They could use it to possibly turn the air conditioner off, stuff like that. So you just never know. On the 350s, they actually had the switch on the outside of the tranny that would actually turn the air conditioner off when you hit passing gear. So. Those are all 1/2 inch there, and then we got 7/16 here. Now I'm assuming this tranny's original matching number, isn't it, Teresa?
I don't know for sure.
I was thinking that it was. They got your governor tubes here. Come on out of there.
Babe, don't say governor.
I said it again. No, these are governor tubes.
Oh, are
they? Yeah, wait.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Teresa, don't be confusing me there.
I'm sorry.
No, but I was talking about the modification that we do to the valve body. Is what we'll do, we'll come in here and TIG weld this hole shut right here. And we'll pull this sleeve out. Of course, the gasket's going to be stuck on there because the tranny's had some type of water in it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can say it's coming out. Okay, so this goes back in there just like this, and the pin goes in and holds it. But this valve right here's got a bigger land on it right here. You got 2 smaller ones. We'll grind this land off right here. Go in the grinder and grind that off like that. And then come in here, weld that hole shut. Just don't heat it up a whole bunch because you can warp it and it makes it hard to get this back in, but just a little bit. When you do those 2 modifications right there, you'll have a manual capability. So it's pretty simple to do. Of course, you can tell it's had water in it. That's where this rust has all come from. We have our passing gear solenoid here. That should just come off there. It's got a gasket, so. The new kit will come with a metal plate for a gasket. One thing about, like right now, since this gasket's going to be destroyed when we take this unit apart, your overhaul kit's going to come with 3 gaskets only, where you got 2. So you got to do some picking and choosing and matching gaskets to make sure you get them right. So since this gasket's already tore and starting to mess up, I don't want to do any more damage to this gasket. I'll go ahead and pull the servo out for the band. Now there's a little U-shaped clip right here on some of them. Well, this one don't have it, but you do have a little metal washer. Some of them have a little U-shaped clip that'll fall out and you'll lose it. So this one's not the style. They make 2 different styles of that piston, and they make 2 different styles of this. If you notice, this is flat. This has got these little ledges on it. Some of them come with this will have the ledges, and this is flat. It's vice versa. If you put this with the one that has the 3 dimples here, then you're in trouble because you're going to apply the band when you bolt the valve body down. It has to have flat dimple or flat dimple. So you can't mix them together. I've never put flat, so you could try it and tell me what it does. But like I said, I'm not going to mess with that gasket because I'm going to match it. But I got to get in here and get to this bolt right here, our center support bolt. And I don't really want to tear the gasket up much because I just want to just get it out there. There we go. Of course, it's a hollow bolt that our fluid goes through. And we have a couple more chambers through here. We have all of our check bolts here. And the main one, the most important, the one in the trough. Yeah. And then we have a reverse servo here that applies the reverse band. Got a paper gasket. The overhaul kit will come with a metal one. Of course, we have our servo here. Accumulator piston here. Some of your pistons can have rubber seals or Teflon, some have metal. Now your overhaul kit might not come with the metal ones. So you got to kind of look and see what you got. Now we do have high pressure ring kit for this trade too we bought, but it'll come with Teflon rings for here. So we might have to change the piston out. So, of course you can see down in here where the band is down through there. And your engine braking band down through there. And we have our suction tube for our filter. Some are metal, some are plastic. Since this is a shallow pan, the pan's not very deep, it's got the short tube. If it's got a deep pan, the tube's gonna be about that much longer. And of course, they can be plastic or metal too. If you notice this nail right here, it's already bent, but we're gonna bend it just a little bit more. The nail will be straight on a train that's never been messed with. You put it in the washer upside down, the nail falls out, and the nail is physically what holds your linkage shaft in. Down in here you got 2 O-rings. Now factory there's only one. I think these are the right O-rings. These are really small and this one's cut in half. You can see it. But anyway, we like to double O-ring that in there too. That way we know it's not going to suck any air because that is above fluid level right there. Now you can't see your boost valve down in here. So if you ever want to change your boost valve in the vehicle, you can. You can just take that snap ring out, pull that boost valve out, put another one in there. So pretty nice. What we like to do is buy the BOP cores and then cut the bell housing off of them and put an ultra bell on them because 99.9% of them will come with an 8-bolt pump. See, and an ultra bell, that way it'll take every bolt hole in the ultra bell when you bolt it on. And then 90% of the time, the internals on a 400 BOP are a lot better when you take it apart as a core because it's not in a truck or anything like that. It's in a car. So.
Well, this one confuses me. It doesn't look like it's been sitting outside. I mean, it looks like it's been outside, but the fluid makes it look like somebody tried to install it and it didn't work.
That
I
could
can't
be.
tell.
Well, it's had water in it, so I'm sure the valve body's
yeah.
all stuck up, all that type of stuff. So. And we have 3 length bolts on this pump body to stator bolting. You got this one long one here, 2 a little bit shorter, and then 2 a little bit shorter. See that? So you want to make sure you put this one right here, the long one. If you put it in there, you're going to draw it, just tighten it down, and it's going to have a gap or it's not going to work. So. Well, we want to look here, see if our stator body's good. Can't feel anything, you just kind of see it, which is good. We want to look here. See what the gears look like here. There's no bluing left on the gear, pretty much all that's gone. You can see the converter could have been spaced. Easy, another 1/8 inch into the gear. Look at the body. Now you can see here, it's wore plumb out. You can grab a lip right there all the way around. You can see it actually. And then all of a sudden you get over on this side. I mean, it's bad still, but it's not as bad as it is on the other side. So it's definitely going to have a pump body put in it. Let's see if we got one of them. If not, a lot of times we have to buy the whole assembly because they won't sell it separate. So. Of course, we have our forward clutch here. Got aluminum piston style, which is okay. Now we want to make sure we got 5 clutches in here, and we do. We still have a wave in here on the forward clutch, and we're going to leave a wave in here. Now we start getting 1,000 plus horsepower, 4,000 stall converter stuff. We might take the wave out, but I don't want it to be trying to beat the splines out of it every time you go from park to reverse, so. Of course, just a stock hub. Now we're going to be putting a Sonex hub in here. I haven't got it out of the shelf yet. Let me go grab it real quick because these things are really superior, over the stock ones. My gloves are pretty nasty, but I can kind of open it up and give you a general idea what it looks like. What I like about it is Sonex adds a bearing right here on the top. For a lot more support. It's made out of some type of, I don't know, some type of really nice metal. It rings just like a bell, which we'll clean this all up, but it's really hard metal. It keeps the splines from stripping, stuff like that. Because he's going to be making, like I said, 800 horsepower is quite a bit. And we don't want this spline right here to strip because this spline's into the forward clutches that makes the vehicle move. It splines into this intermediate shaft right here. So we get over 1,000 horsepower, stuff like that. I got a billet forward drum over there with this shaft and stuff is all billet too. We're not going to put that in there because we only do that from about 1,000 up. We'll do that. The intermediate shaft the same way. Now if we start dumping trans brakes on this thing and stuff, then we'll start recommending, even at 800, possibly a billet shaft here and a billet intermediate shaft back here. So. Really nice piece. And we were hoping we had a nice roller clutch in here, sprag assembly, but this is going to be the terrible one, of course. So we're going to have to find a whole nother drum here for him. Because anytime you make second gear shift firm, this sprag right here takes a beating. And this one here, it's just a factory, little cheap one. Now this is a one-way bearing. You can call it a roller clutch because it spins one way and locks the other way. Sprag does the same thing. Us builders, we kind of call them both things because they do exactly the same, just different designs. But you can't take this off and put another piece on there, so you physically have to find a drum. And actually my sprag hasn't come in yet neither to show you. So still waiting on UPS. So we got a 5 clutch here, actually a 4. So that ain't gonna work. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got to at least get 5 clutches in there. If you notice, they had the hat against the steel. So let's kind of see how much clearance they had in this thing. Let's stack it up real quick. Yeah, see, he had to do that. Because see, the clearance is about right. See, that land right there, that little shiny one right here, to here is what you're checking. See, if you stack it all the way up flush, when you set this down on there, the hat will touch it. Well, see, did you hear it just fall? It's not touching it because it's below it just a little bit. So what we're going to have to do, you can go with thinner steels in here, or you can get a shorter piston. I can go out in the trailer and try to find the shortest piston down there and physically do it that way too. So find the short piston, find you some thinner steels and thinner clutches, and you've got to have 5 clutches in there. no matter how you look at it. So, of course, we have our engine braking band. And then we have our intermediate clutches. You notice how they stuck that snap ring, the end of that, right down in there again.
Yep, it wasn't even
No.
holding.
You know, I stick them in here like that. Put the opening over there. Now they do make a support where you can knock this pin out and it'll bolt right there, and it comes in here and lays up against that snap ring right through here. You can physically buy that. You know, you start raising the shifting pressure 240 psi and stuff like that, and you'll start blowing that case snap ring out. You'll start blowing this out or breaking it. Now you can actually find some of the Chrysler 48REs, the snap rings are a lot wider, about that wide, and they fit in the case even better. And we like to switch it over to that. Of course, we got a 3 clutch second. Definitely going to go back with a 4 clutch. Thinner steels, thinner clutches. The wave, will we still leave it in there? You know, this tranny shift's pretty firm with a wave in it. You leave it out, you get such an extreme shift in the second, and then we start breaking this because our second gear clutch is spline around that sprag. So, a lot of work, a lot of checking clearances, and you know, just setting them up, there's a lot of time. People don't realize how much time we get in assembling these trannies. Kind of one of them things you like to be left alone, thinking, huh, Teresa? A lot to it. Of course, we have a bearing right here. Sits down in here, sits on this like that, and it goes in here like that. So, and then you have this thrust washer here, it goes down in there. Now we put a brass one down in there. Now they do make this selective, and that's physically how you can set your clearance up in the back end, beyond the center support here. Because the tranny physically, you have clearance setting here, and then you have clearance setting in the front of the barrel too. So there's 2 places to adjust this thing. And then, like I said, these come different thicknesses. Place all your bushings. Sun gears. Always want to look at these on both sides. We replaced 90% of them. Now you can tell this is a 400 style. They actually make 2 styles of this for the 400, and then they make the late 480E style. So they make multiple ones of this. Look at this, I'll show you. I probably ain't got the second design, but I know I got you can see here, this one here's got 4 notches in it. This one here's got just a slice. Then, will this one fit in there? Yep, but will it work? I guarantee it won't. So, but this one here only goes in one way on this one.
Right.
See, and it lines it up with that hole.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you notice hole.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't put this one in any other direction. But they do make 3 versions of that gear. Of course, our support here, they make a thick and a thin. If we got a snap ring down in here, where the support sets on the case, it's going to be a thin. This one here is physically a thick. This land is really thick right here, and we have no snap ring in the case. If you notice here, though, I kind of like the thin ones when the snap ring sets in the case, because see the wear in the case? Where the support sets, it wears it right there. See them?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they add the snap ring, that wear went away, but you have to go to the trailer and find you a thin support. So, if you're a builder like I am, I go to the trailer and get a fat snap ring, and I go get a thin support. That way I know my work's 100%. Just the way it is. Of course, here on this front planet, I'll show you something here too. So you have your roller clutch here. Just remember when you put these in, because they'll go both ways, your springs always push your rollers uphill. Your spring always pushes your roller uphill. Just remember that. Now on this planet here, these pins on the rollers right here, they always move this way. And what they do is they start rubbing on this thrush washer right here, because that thrush washer runs right there. So what we do, if they're sticking up a little bit, we'll tap them back, and then we'll come in here and trim or TIG weld them around. We TIG weld every one we leave on our 480Es. I mean, every one of them we TIG weld. 80 grit this up really nice. We can put a new band on it. After we get done, we even buff this up here with some Scotch-Brite. Take the plastic washer out, put a metal one in, a brass one. We have this can be a silencer ring, kind of, sort of. It keeps your planet from whining maybe a little bit, but also it maintains oil in the cavity. So what it is some of them don't have it. You don't have to put it back in. I like to leave them in there because it kind of makes the planet fill up with oil and forces the oil out this hole here. That way it just floods it in here. If you take it out, then it's just going to leak everywhere. So it'll just blow out all the way around this here. Now, a lot of times we get them in here, they're chipping, breaking off. You'll find pieces of plastic in the pan, stuff like that. And we have our reverse band here. Mainly want to look for wear on the tips. That's where it starts happening, and the band starts rubbing metal to metal on your drum. If you notice here, on the bottom here, we have a metal thrush washer. That thrush washer is the same one that will replace this one. And look how much more wider it is. So in other words, I can take this thrush washer, go get one just like it, and set it down in here, because there's four tabs for it. Stick that in them tabs. Trying to hold a screwdriver too. There you go. See? Now you got a lot wider washer. The washer's the same thickness as this plastic one, so why wouldn't you do it? So.
Yeah, just why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Especially in a race car application, when you know the tranny's going to get really, really hot enough to melt plastic. So you definitely want to try to get all the plastic out of it. Look, they change that bushing up there. You want to look at all your bearings. Now, this bearing here in the back, what did it look like? See, it's a multi-roller. See? Well, if you look at this bearing here, there's half the rollers. But I can go over on the shelf and get a bearing just like this, but with this many rollers. And definitely you want to do that. So, and you don't have to change the races. All you got to do is change that bearing, because the bearing isn't part of the race. So it's pretty simple. Good upgrades. Look at your planet. Make sure the gears don't wobble or anything like that. Check your parking lugs here too, because that's what your parking pole locks into. So, case bushing down inside, you always want to replace it. But the main thing too, that's why I didn't take these gaskets off. Before I even wash this, I'm going to clean up, open my kit, and I'm going to look for areas like through here, and there's a spot right through here that you got to look at, because there's like a little teardrop place, or it'll be a square hole. And see, let's see how this sets on there.
Are you talking about that?
No, it's right through here. See how this square hole?
Mm-hmm.
Square hole. One of them will be a teardrop. And the teardrop one in the overhaul kit will interchange.
Oh, I see.
See, so you gotta really watch on that. So, but anyway, guys, thank you, Teresa. Definitely recording. It's Friday. You could be home doing something else in the yard. I bet you, huh? That's what I thought. But guys, don't forget to go subscribe, hit that notification bell. We've got a ton more cool stuff coming. So, hope y'all have a great Friday. Hope you don't have to work Saturday like I do, but it is what it is. Have a great day.